Remember that the transition questions are really just using very basic transitions that we use every day, but they have made them a little bit more scary by using versions of those transitions that we're not using every day. So you can do this to start things off. You can do this after you've read the passage. It doesn't really matter to me. But what I'm going to do here just to show you what I'm talking about is reclassify, use dumb summary versions of all of these words. So moreover is a word that means and. That said is a phrase that means but. In other words, it's very literal. It just means we're saying the same thing in other words. So we're repeating ourselves. So this is about repetition. And then, for example, also very literal, means we're giving an example. So now as I'm reading it, I'm not really thinking about like, does that said or moreover sound better in this spot? I'm thinking about, does and sound better? Is this a but? Is this a contrast situation? So I'm thinking about it in ways that are a little bit more familiar to me because I don't use these words on a daily basis. So let's take a look. In his painting at the cycle race track, Gene Mensinger aims to depict a bike race in four-dimensional space. Of course, Mensinger's painting doesn't technically represent a fourth dimension. Humans can only see in three dimensions. By depicting the race through multiple simultaneous perspectives, Mensinger offers a fascinating glimpse at what this other universe might look like. So it's kind of a stretch. I kind of get a negative vibe from this first part, right? It doesn't technically represent a fourth dimension. We can only see in three. And then I feel like this is positive, right? But by depicting the race through multiple perspectives, it's a fascinating glimpse at what this universe might look like. So we can't actually see fourth dimensions, but he's found a way to kind of give it a go, you know? So that feels like B. It's not, in other words, because that second sentence after the blank is not repeating what the sentence before it said. It's adding new information. It's not saying we can't see in fourth dimensions because that we've already said that. So it's not repeating that idea. It is not an example of how we can't see in four dimensions. It is just kind of continuing with a new idea. And I understand, moreover, that's one of those transitions that's not really even a transition. It just means we're kind of moving on to the next point. So for that, the only reason I really pick an and word is if nothing else worked. But I think but works great here. If I kind of dumb summarize the word and the sentences on either side, it feels right. We can only see in three dimensions, but he's found a way to represent four in some weird way. So it feels like a contrast. I'm fine with that. And if that didn't work, then I would pick A, and it's mostly because with and words we pick when nothing else fits. But fits fine here, and it's a stronger connection, so definitely go with the stronger one.